You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
I am Death Guard. No longer. I am a ghost. I am a legion of one. I am a Knight Errant. I am of purpose.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Cult of Lore. I'm Ben.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Jerry.
And today we're doing something different, which is actually not really all that
different. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're always doing different stuff. It's still 40K, guys, so no sweat in there. But it is our first ever character study of just like, yeah, we do them with Primarchs, but Primarchs are story devices on top of characters.
They're kind of on the level of like when you're talking about gods. You know what I mean? They've got a lot of lore wrapped up into the things happening around them, too.
Right. They're not what I call them heroes. Heroes they're not required reading to have the overarching story.
Right.
Primarchs, you need to know who they are. You need to know what they do.
They're such movers in the world, you know?
Yeah.
They're almost forces of nature in there.
So this is going to be our first episode studying just a single individual Astartes. And I couldn't be more tickled pink because the Astartes we chose for this time is Nathaniel Garro, who is absolutely one of my, actually probably my favorite single character in 40K thus at time of recording, of course.
Yeah, Straight Arrow Garro.
Straight Arrow Garro. So I have done Flight of the Eisenstein, of course. I did Garro Weapon of Fate and Garro Legion of One. It's the teleplay, the audio play of the part where he goes after Garviel Loken as Cerberus. And then, of course, Garro Knight of Grey, which is his final book, barring something really fucking cool that it hints at, and we'll get there.
Yeah, and honestly, we should probably say that spoilers for all of those books that he just mentioned.
All of them.
For this episode.
Spoilers for everything.
Just so you...
Big old honking fat spoilers.
I mean, we tend to do spoilers anyway, I guess, but like these are very specific storylines. Yeah. So
this is unique in 40K because this is one of the few stories that you can cover in 40K that is a completely closed loop. And even then, kind of not. So, you know.
We think.
No, they say it. I don't care. I don't care who tries out. No, they didn't tackle. I'm like, yeah, they fucking did. Okay. Anyway, Garro, I was exposed to Garro fairly early on because Flight of the Eisenstein was one of the first books that I read.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was it was the first one that I came to you. I'm like, listen, you're gonna have to read this book at some point.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. Man, no wonder you fell just like head over heels for Warhammer. That was such a good book.
It was a good introduction.
Yeah,
and to credit Luton, we mentioned him several times. He's a big YouTuber when it comes to 40K. He was one that's in one of his videos, he's like, if you're looking to start like Flight of the Eisenstein is one of those ones that you need to check out. And I was like, all right, cool.
It's a gateway book.
It is. It also helps.
The first one's free.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't.
Oh, no.
It wasn't expensive either. Hey, Audible.
You know, just saying Audible.
Yeah, just saying.
It'd be cool.
I have listened to 37 of your titles thus far. And I'm working on like 37.
And
I'm working
counting.
on 38, 39, and 40. Anyway.
Natural allies.
Yes. But
The team up.
it also helps that I really like the Death Guard. The Death Guard are one of my favorite Traitor Legions, right behind the Night Lords. So this was like a double win for me.
Yeah.
And then you cradle the balls while you're there by making the main character's whole thing about like the issue of faith and what that means to a person. And so this was like a perfect storm for me to be like, yes, please give me more. I want all of this. Is everything that I like wrapped up into one book and wrapped up into one character. So like, this was an episode long time coming.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's here. I've gloated enough. You guys give me some of your thoughts overall, what you thought of Nathaniel Garro, Straight Arrow Garro.
Ooh, okay. Jerry?
Well, I thought he was pretty cool.
I knew it. I was like, if he stops at like he was neat or nifty, I'm just gonna slap him in his fucking face.
No, I have more to say. I really like the Arthurian like parallel with him.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm with Jerry for sure. Yeah.
You did Flight of the Eisenstein.
Yes,
and
I did.
You did. We all listened to Garro Knight of Grey.
Mm-hmm.
His finale.
Yeah. So I'm with you. The Arthurian like parallels or, synchronicities there. It's really cool. It's really neat to me because I like these guys too. A lot of mythology and stuff. So finding things like that is really neat. And he's a paragon. I'm so happy that Warhammer has a fucking paragon.
I know.
We have just been dredging ourselves through the
He
muck.
sticks to his guns.
He
It's good.
does. And he's got faith, or an arc of faith, I should say.
Well, I
Depends
would
on
say
when.
that he had faith the whole time. I think his arc is looking how to define that faith, because his allegiance and faith in the Emperor, while it might not have been a religious faith, he had like a faith in his vision.
Yeah.
And so he always was a man of faith in that way. And I think the way that manifested early on was he always referred to the Emperor. Even amongst other Astartes and stuff, he didn't refer to Mortarion. He always referred to the Emperor.
Right.
And so I just think he was just a
true believer.
A true believer from the get. He just didn't know how to quantify it or what he really meant to him. It was just like this amorphous blob in him that always gave him this inner strength that he came on time and time again. So good.
He literally purred.
I love that kind of shit.
It does.
Oh no. So like, I very seldom get into my own background, but I grew up in a very heavily religious family. And then, I went through a period of time where you rebel against that. And then I tried to look at it through a more like adult eyes, not necessarily atheists. Atheists are dry, boring people, but through a more adult lens. And so this story of a guy who had faith, and then because he also had faith in his brothers and in his Primarch, and then that was completely shattered when he realized that it wasn't. He lost that kind of child naivete about it and saw that even his Primarch is just kind of petty and pathetic and just like the rest of us.
Right.
Really.
He's human too, quote unquote.
Right. And then he has to rebuild that faith back up. Like, oh, man, that's just good stuff. I like it.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. That's wonderful.
Feel the passion here.
Yeah. No wonder this grabbed you so much.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And it's very true, I thought of him often as like, what did I keep saying? That he was like the Captain America of Warhammer.
Yeah, very
much.
much.
What I mean?
Which is hilarious coming from a Death Guard of all legions.
That's on, and you touched on something too, like, I never would have thought that something like this would come out of the Death Guard.
No.
Because I learned of Garro relatively late in our lore journey.
You were more familiar with the Death Guard than Garro.
I was, and I knew what they became. And so this sort of person wasn't even on my radar as far as like, what to expect. So that was very neat. And it gave me a better understanding of what the Death Guard lost, if that makes sense.
So there's kind of like 40K is very kind of neat if you know where to look. I think this is like, I'm very new to this, so this is still just my theory. But I think if you know where to look for each of the traitor legions, they give you an example of what they would have been without the chaos corruption. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that they're always on the loyalist side, because I actually think Sevatar of the Night Lords is that.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
Because,
I feel like you have said that in an episode before.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
really, for him, the reason why he never went to the loyalist side is he's just like, they hate us. And he often would get into arguments with Conrad, his own Primarch, about like, you have gone past what we were meant to be. You have lied to us. You've lied to yourself. And in his book, not to divert too much from Garro, but in his book, he actually was a true believer in the, we do save trillions of lives by butchering billions.
Right.
Mhm.
Using
And
those
so-
scare tactics.
Yeah. And so they do give you like an idea of maybe what would have been.
Yeah.
And I do think Garro is that for the Death Guard. Although what's cool is Typhus is almost the mirror reflection of that, right? He's like the perfect embodiment of what they became.
Yeah.
Even more so, in my opinion, than Mortarion.
They're like lightning rods in opposite directions.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah. They really, that's interesting. They are each other's antithesis in this case, aren't they?
Yeah. Very
How
much
cool
so.
is that? Oh, and that kind of contextualizes the face off between him and Mortarion, because it is kind of like they're both fighting for the spirit of the Death Guard, through this story.
Well, yeah. Well, so, I mean, sort of Dusk Raiders.
Yeah.
The spirit of the Dusk Raiders.
Yeah.
Because Garro, by the end of it, he was basically like the last Dusk Raider.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into who the hell is Garro?
Yeah. We should do that.
So Battle Captain Nathaniel Garro is a battle captain. That was his rank of the Death Guard. Now, what is a battle captain? A battle captain was a rank that was given to early Astartes primarily through the Unification Wars. Once the Primarchs kind of came in and they came on past that, the rank of battle captain kind of fell out and was deemed to be an old title. You got it by performing some great task or honoring yourself and your legion in front of the Emperor.
Oh, wow.
So whatever I couldn't find,
My
but
question.
whatever it was, the Emperor had to have seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a lot of feats. That he had battled with the Luna Wolves, Emperor's Children,
Yes.
The Sisters of Silence.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh no, he's been everywhere and fought everything, and him getting the rank of battle captain also is why he got to wear the Imperial Imperator, which is that giant golden eagle that's on his chest and above his head. There was no other Astartes that was allowed. The closest, when you start getting into iconography of like that, you see that there is an eagle on the shoulder pauldron of Rogel Dorn.
Oh, wow.
So to wear an eagle on you is like that level of something. So you know what? If they ever, and I bet they've intentionally left that quiet. So if they're ever like, hey, we need a sales bump and, Nathaniel is, well, what can we do with them? Bring them back out. Let's do this story. And you know what? I'm here for it. Anyway.
Yeah. Give it to us.
I don't care. All in its good time as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So he was obviously a member of the Dusk Raiders. He was there long before Mortarion showed up. And what this did was give Nathaniel a sense of loyalty, as I said, to the Emperor, not Mortarion.
Right. It was very deeply.
I believe myself that between how you earned the rank of battle captain, the fact that he was allowed to wear the Imperator, and that he was so loyal to the Emperor, I think whatever it was that caused him to earn all that, the Emperor not only saw it, but spoke to him.
Ooh.
And must have said something like something about being of, purpose. Or something like that.
Something along those lines.
Something along
maybe.
those lines, maybe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That implanted that seed of faith in him. And the Emperor is like foresighty enough to pull off that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I would, if it's out there and I've missed it, damn. But if it's not out there, I want it. Anyway, so he shows up and Mortarion comes in and changes the Dusk Raiders to the Death Guard. We've done the Death Guard. We did Mortarion.
Yep.
All funneling to this so that we don't have to cover all of that in depth.
Right. I can link those in the description.
Yeah.
If you want some more background or context to these stories.
Correct.
As we talk. Yeah.
Good old Farmer Morty.
Good old Farmer Morty.
And so, the Death Guard, of course, fell to Nurgle. But before that, they sided with Horus, which led to the Drop Site Massacre. Garro was present at Isvan 3, where they did the house cleaning
Oh,
of the Loyalists.
house cleaning. Such a cruel way of putting it.
I mean, that's what it was. They were cleaning house.
They were.
They were
The Purge.
Yeah, they were purging anybody that was going to give them any resistance.
Yep.
And in the Flight of the Eisenstein, you get this really cool moment between Nathaniel and Morty where there's a tradition in the Death Guard to drink cups of very viral poison.
Yeah. Just
And
toxic, horrible poison.
it can actually kill legionaries. And if you're to die of it, they're like, guess you weren't strong enough.
Wow.
But anyway, Mortarion engages in this ceremony to honor Garro. This is considered to be an honor. And it's funny because every time Morty does it, Typhon, or Typhus, as he becomes known, does it with him. So it's like, Typhon's just like, nah, fuck it, it'll kill.
It's like, I am strong enough.
Yeah.
But Mortarion uses this ceremony to try to prod Garro into joining, like figure out where his loyalties lie. And every single time, Garro shuts him down like a Catholic girl in sex night. He's just like, nope, Emperor, bam, nope, Emperor, bam, nope, promised my virginity to the Emperor, bam. Shutting him down the entire time. It actually is funny because there's a reoccurring theme that anytime Mortarion talks to Garro, Typhon is in the background just screaming his fucking head off because Typhon has explicitly told Mortarion so many times. He's like, you will not be able to change Garro's mind. He's like, why are we even bothering with this? Just kill him now.
Yep. He is very insistent. Typhon sees from the start. He's like, there's no fucking way.
No, so
There's
Mortarion keeps prodding him and Garro keeps turning him down and Typhon keeps getting more pissed off in the background. This is something that happens time and time again. There's a moment where he literally gets, later in the story, where Typhon literally gets hopping mad at Mortarion.
Just kill him.
Just kill him! And he's in the background just raging out, just like screaming at the top of his head, which is hilarious to think about. And, of course, Garro sides with the loyalists and manages to flee with the help of Saul Tarvitz, the real Emperor's children, who he's another one I will look into because he has a very small part in Flight of the Eisenstein.
Right. He only appears for a brief moment.
But fuck, he makes an impact, man.
It's a turning point for Garro that he's there for.
Yeah.
Honestly, because that was a leap of fucking faith.
It was.
Yeah. Do they know what we're talking about?
No. So Saul Tarvitz is an Emperor's children, and they basically are battle brothers. They fought together and they carved a little eagle. Yes. Yeah. Into their armor. And so every time they would take risks, the eagles would line up to one another.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cute. Nice.
And so Saul is like basically the first one to figure out what's going on. He finds out that Horus is loading up viral bombs and is going to bombard the planet. And so Saul just jumps on a ship, breaks through the blockade of the planet, and just starts careening to the planet to warn his brothers. And the Eisenstein captain, run by Garro, is ordered to shoot him out of the sky. And he basically calls Garro. And Eric, you were quite taken with this scene, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I loved this moment because he was just like, literally, there is no time to explain. This is all fucked.
Yeah, he's literally like, we've been betrayed. We're all going to die. Trust me. And like shuts off the radio.
Yeah. And that's it. And while he's so desperately trying to get this across, he also knows nobody's going to fucking buy it. Nobody is.
No, but I mean, the guy that does the narration, I bet it's Toby Longsworth. Oh, I'm ashamed. It's my man, Jonathan Keeble.
Yep. Okay. That's okay.
You know why I said Toby Longsworth? Because that's who I was listening to today.
There we go. Yeah.
But no, it's Jonathan Keeble, who also did Deceiver. He did the Angron voice.
He's good.
He's probably my favorite to listen to because, man, when he goes ham into something, he goes ham.
Yeah, he really puts his heart into these like performances.
And so when Saul is just screaming into the radio, he just sounds like he's losing. Because, the Emperor's children have like the long white silver hair. And so you just picture him like holding this radio and his hair's just got to be wild as shit. And he's just screaming his fucking head off into this radio.
Just like, they're going to wipe him out.
They're going to kill them all.
They're going to kill them all.
Of them. Yeah. He's just like,
he'd be like panicking and trying to do things at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first time you ever hear an Astartes like panic.
Like lose their cool a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a little
definitely.
bit, like
Love
full
it.
on.
Straight up did lose
Yeah.
his cool. You're right. And Garro makes this decision purely on faith, where because there's other ships kind of closing in on him too, and he shoots one of the other ships going after it, and uses the explosion to cover
Saul's descent.
Yeah. So they, for that short window, they think that he's been destroyed, and that gives them time to get down to the planet.
Okay.
And to me, that moment was pivotal to Garro, because it's like he had already had his suspicions about what was going on and these questions of loyalty and faith. He kept, getting that challenge from Mortarion. And this was like, to make a decision that life-changing that fast would be so stressful for me. But, that's what faith is, really.
I mean, what you're basing it on nothing other than your judgment of the
Just
guy,
literally,
the man's character.
Yeah. He's like, I know this guy.
This guy's my battle brother.
He's not a traitor.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on, I trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kicks off,
it does.
That's also like more or less the inciting incident of Flight of the Eisenstein.
It is.
Or Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to jump over a lot of Flight of the Eisenstein,
Right.
with the primarily because I really want you guys to read these.
Yeah. Which is,
I really want you guys to read these, but there is two characters that we must mention. One is Caleb Errant.
Caleb. We will always remember Caleb.
Eric's got a soft spot for Caleb,
Yeah.
and not for no reason.
Yeah.
Caleb is also a real one.
Yeah. He is.
He's Garro's house Carl.
House Carl.
Yep. House Carl. And what that is a, I don't want to use the word failed initiate,
I mean, yeah,
but kind of is.
it is.
It's someone who has tried to join the Death Guard, but didn't pass
The trials.
the trials for it, and
Yeah.
but still wanted to serve, or maybe still had to serve. I don't know.
No, so he actually would have been discarded or even left for dead, except for Garro. Garro was allowed to take a house Carl as part of his reward for whatever.
Oh yeah, he was big on the traditions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it used to be tradition to pick a failed recruit to be a house Carl to allow them to serve, and so he picked Caleb.
Okay. Yeah, I had forgotten that was tied to the traditional.
That
Dusk
there's
Raider stuff.
another aspect of Garro that I'm a
Very traditional.
tradition. I love tradition, man.
Yeah. Yes,
Listen,
very
not all tradition, not all, but a lot of it.
traditional. You like those deep roots.
Yeah, yes, I do, and I like the appreciation for it, which Garro is almost doggedly on.
Yeah, definitely has.
So yeah, everything about this, it was just like,
this is so like he loves Captain America and stuff like that. So
Right,
this
yeah.
is very much in line with that. Yeah.
it is.
You guys ever seen Fiddler on the Roof?
Yes. Oh, I was in that show a couple
Tradition.
of times. Tradition.
That's so good.
Careful, I was in that musical. I'm
Were you?
liable to break out into song, and that would be terrible.
I want you to.
Oh no.
I was busy getting laid. So anyway, that's not true. If you would have,
That's not true.
That's a lie.
my encyclopedic knowledge of Star Wars would speak to otherwise. Let's not kid ourselves.
I was
Yeah.
busy getting laid.
Layered. Oh my god. I love it.
Been shut down.
You did.
Wow.
He's trying not to go cross-eyed at the moment with
Yeah.
just. That was a sucker punch. He didn't see that one coming.
Ooh, listen, she's dead now. You be nice.
Oh, Carrie.
You had to go out on Poppins. God damn it.
It wasn't her fault.
It wasn't. Anyway,
Wow. Yeah.
so Caleb served Garro, and he took unlimited amounts of shit from all the other Death Guard legionnaires.
Oh, they were so condescending to him.
And some of them were downright cruel.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously the Death Guard, they value resilience and strength, and this guy had failed. And so the fact that he was even allowed to serve was a mockery to them.
Yeah.
Caleb also happened to be one of the very early believers of the Imperial faith. He worshipped the Emperor, and he claimed that the Emperor gave him a vision that Garro was to serve some higher purpose.
Yep. That Garro was of purpose.
And while I think that right there, that saying, and there's a reason why I picked that to be the last part of our quote. Like I pulled from all the different Garro quotes because I think that perfectly sums up Garro as a character.
Yeah, it really does. It seems to be what his theme is.
Yeah. There is, so nobody likes plot armor, right?
Yeah.
Plot armor is a cheap way to get characters out of situations that you've backed them into. However, there is such thing as doing plot armor to the point where it's divine intervention.
Yeah.
Where it's like this character is meant to be at the specific spot at the specific reason for the specific reason, and that's the end of it. And Garro very much kind of teeter-totters that edge to a lot of it.
I would say definitely. Kind of full on, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of, and that's a valid thing to have in your story, divine intervention, especially when you do have that kind of like question wrapped up in it. Like, is it even divine intervention?
Right.
Like, that to me is when it's supreme. You can't see what I'm doing with my fingers.
He's Italian.
Thing.
Yeah,
I talk with my hands, and you guys are missing out on all of that.
No, trust me. He's Italian. He's motioning with his hands. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you know.
You know.
Yeah, you know exactly what it is. But yeah, because God, this could be this could be a Crusader story, really.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You could very easily put this during the Crusades and the March to Israel, the Holy Lands and all that.
Yeah.
You could very easily do like the search for the Holy Grail.
Yep. And I see even what was it with Martin Luther and the Protestant Reform? I don't know if I'm stretching or wrong, but I'm seeing elements of that, the kind of Catholics versus Protestants sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Boy, I might be stretching. And I don't know if we want to go there.
Oh, I am not prepared for that one.
It would be purely speculative. But I will say this, actually. Let's hypothetically equate Primarchs to saints as far in the view of the Catholics.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, from Garro's point of view, if
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So the saints are who you would, when you pray to a saint, according to the Catholics, you're asking them to intercede for you for God, who in this case might be the emperor. Whereas the Protestants,
so almost like a female saint that has to reach out towards the god to imbue you with let's say powers beyond your normal capabilities, something like that.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yes. But then the Protestants, they didn't like that. They were like, nah, you just pray right to God or to Jesus or whatever. And I'm oversimplifying a lot and speculating.
They cut out a lot of the red tape.
Yeah. So I almost kind of see that where it's like Garro's like, yeah, but maybe not, if you have to go through the Primarch and the Primarch is wrong, maybe you should just go right to the source.
Yeah. I mean, and he definitely had that in Flight of the Eisenstein.
Yeah.
So Caleb discovers that a lot of the Death Guard that are on the Eisenstein are there to stop Garro, primarily one dickhead that shows up several times.
Yeah.
Grolgor.
Grolgor
is his name, and yes, he's as dumb as he sounds. But he gives way to a much better villain known as the Lord of Flies, which is a demon that is kind of a nemesis that Garro repeatedly fights.
Yeah.
Fucking Caleb. What a Chad.
Yeah.
Like, he discovers that they're going to set off Life Eater viruses in the ship to take out like Garro and his crew. And so he sections off the whole thing in front of Garro and detonates them with him inside.
Yeah.
And I'm shortening it all the way down.
Big time, because this is his big moment. Read it.
And it is, oh my God. And
God, love that man.
He's looking through the door at Garro, and Garro's just like, why? And he just like word vomits basically everything. He's like, the Emperor told me you are of purpose. You are going to serve like a great, glorious, blah, 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 blah. And Garro's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And he is saying this while like suffering one of the worst deaths that you can in Warhammer, which is
a distinguished fucking list to be on.
Yeah.
The Life Eater virus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is kind of just turning you into a bubbling mass of.
And so he's like trying to hammer home how important this message is.
Yeah. And like, obviously that leaves an impression on Garro. And he's also like, I thought that was cool too, because it was like he was withstanding something that the other Death Guard that were trapped in the room could not.
That's right. The traitor Death Guard that he trapped in there with him died before he did. So fuck you.
And screaming.
While Oh,
I mean, he was screaming too, but he was screaming something important. Yeah. No, it was great. Great moment. Good book. Goddamn good book.
His faith was kind of keeping him together.
Yeah. That is definitely.
You could say that the Emperor was giving him strength to deliver that message.
Yeah.
If that's how you interpreted it, there are other things that happen later on in Garro's story that you could say
may or may not.
Set precedent for that.
Yeah.
So who knows? So, that's why it's so good, though.
Yeah. Well, we have to have faith in this idea. You know what I mean? That's how well written this is. God. Well, anyway. Yeah. So moment of silence for Caleb.
Yeah. No, that was rough. But like, man, if you have to have a character that you love go out, that's a good one.
It's a good way to go.
That's a good one.
And he was, I have mixed feelings about like the Imperial cult though, because it leads to I don't like where that ended up growing into, but like it's nice to see the heart of it is actually earnest.
Yeah.
Good intentions.
Yeah.
In Garro, just like with the Dusk Raiders, you get to see what the pure version of that Imperial faith is.
Yeah. Well, it's very sad.
The other character that we need to mention from Flight of the Eisenstein is a woman by the name of Euphrates Keeler.
She's kind of important, I guess.
She's a little bit of a big deal.
Bit. Yeah.
Euphrates Keeler was a remembrancer on the Horus's flagship. Vengeful Spirit. Boom.
That was it. Nice. Did it. Even without future air.
Death. But I keep having to stop to do other things. By the way, did you guys know that motherfucker is going to be 3 parts long and we're already on the Spirit of Vengeance by the end of the first book? What the hell are they doing?
Man, it's going to be... That tells me a lot of shit is going to happen. Like, obviously.
I mean, I would hope so, unless part 2... I mean, the first part is 18 fucking hours long, and if the second part is anywhere near that long, and the third part is even half that long, then okay. But anyway, she was a remembrancer on the Spirit of Vengeance, and I haven't gotten to... I'm sure she shows up. Maybe not. But I'm sure she probably shows up in Horus Rising, which is the first book in the Horus Heresy, which I'm saving. I know I haven't gotten to it yet. But she is a saint. Shorthand.
Yeah.
She's a saint of the Imperial faith. I believe she is the first person to repel a demon using the symbol of the Aquila and just her faith in the Emperor to like exorcise it and repel it back.
Wow. Not Psyker.
No, not
non-Psyker.
They put her through all kinds of tests. They put her with blanks, everything. She is not a psyker. She's not possessed, nothing.
Yeah.
And this introduces the idea that has been developing and that I think Knight of Grey hammers home is that in the 40K universe, just like the warp, just like war energy, and war energy might even be directly connected to it.
It could be.
Faith is its own energy source all by itself. Like an actual able to manipulate things on a physical level, magical, for lack of a better term, force that you can draw upon with sufficient will and faith.
Yeah.
And it's not documented like Psyker is.
Right.
Right.
It sounds like they're able to kind of detect Psyker stuff. And so these things that happen by faith, they tested this saint.
Right. Well, so they've spent their entire existence stamping out the things that cause that. So faith, religion is what they're trying to stamp out, right? Religion could lead you to draw power from one of 2 sources, assuming this is true.
Right.
The warp, if you're worshiping something that is like a chaos god or something that the chaos god draws power from.
Yeah.
Or consequently, if your religion is based on something that is not a warp entity, then faith itself becomes a driving power that you can use at whim. And so if they're stamping out religion, you're stamping out the warp-based power, but also
you're losing the faith-based
until
element.
something or this case, someone steps in to fill that kind of hole.
Yeah. But then why? Well, okay. I was about to ask, why would the Emperor then want to suppress that? But it is because of that risk of falling into chaos.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah. To suppress it at large anyway. Yeah.
Or perhaps just in his own biases, so there is a book, a very short story called The Last Church. And it's the Emperor. He goes to the last like remaining religious temple on Earth. And he does it in disguise. And you can find there's a really cool narrated version on YouTube. I'll find it and we'll link it.
All
It's
right.
it's a motion comic. It's really good. And he sits down in disguise and has a long conversation with the last priest there. And it becomes very clear through this conversation that the Emperor is biased against religion on a fundamental level and is completely unwilling to entertain any notion that somebody else might know something that he doesn't. What you have to remember is that the Emperor is human. Just like the Primarchs, he makes mistakes.
Right.
So he thinks he has absolute knowledge,
Right.
but he might not.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he might not even be aware that this is possible, or might not have been aware that that was possible at the time.
Right.
I would be willing to entertain that for sure. I do not subscribe to the notion that the Emperor is all-knowing. I do not subscribe to that.
Also,
Right.
I'm trying to picture him disguising himself and going into a church.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't he kind of large?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
he can
he is.
change. Even so,
He is a very powerful
He is
psyker.
a good psyker. I
Yeah.
thought about that.
so nobody has seen what he actually looks like. Even Malkador acknowledges that every version of him that he's seen is just whatever version he wants him to see.
Oh.
And he's not even sure if the Emperor himself remembers what he originally looked like.
Okay.
Well, daggone. Okay.
So that big golden armor and stuff, that's not what he looks like.
Okay.
Or at least not truly. We're
That's-
seeing
yeah.
a version of him.
Yes,
That's what he wants to look like sometimes.
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
So it's something that he's done. We know that the Emperor, throughout his life, took the guises of historical beings. I think The End and the Death directly says that he was Alexander the Great.
Oh,
if I'm
okay.
not misinterpreting it wildly, because whenever they tell stuff about like old Earth, they either slightly misquote it or they mispronounce the name,
Right.
which is why my one tattoo, the quote is actually misquoted. If you look up the actual quote from Virgil, that's not what it says.
Nice.
I know that
Yeah.
that's intentional.
Everything is warped.
Yeah. Ha.
Save it for the end.
But I think that's a nice touch because that kind of, to me, grounds it in like this hit, because it's like big old game of telephone history,
right, it does. The
And so
unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
It's all of 40K. It's
Yeah.
a perfect way to keep yourself from writing yourself into a block.
Another great series that does that is the Wheel of Time. They have like references to it's where it's like maybe this was our world too. And
Oh,
it's-
they almost
yeah.
Planet of the Apes it?
Yeah, almost. But they keep it very like soft, like maybe.
Nice.
It's a big maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
But anyway, Euphrates Keeler gets attached to Garro. And another one of those divine things is no matter where he goes, no matter what adventure he goes on, he always kind of ends up reconnecting with her. And so there's just this kind of air of fate and connection between the two of them throughout his stories.
They just keep getting drawn back together by events.
Yes. Garro gets recruited by Malkador to start the Knight Errant, which is where he takes on what most people know him in is the gray armor. He still gets to keep his Imperator as a symbol of his allegiance to the Emperor.
Yep.
He's carrying his sword Libertas, which we'll save that for the end when we go over his gear.
Yeah. I was
Libertas was fucking
It's
cool.
amazing that we've gone this far without mentioning that, huh? Yeah.
I mean, so just starting out, I was like, we'll be lucky if this episode's 45 minutes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm such an idiot. Anyway, he gets recruited by Malkador to start this secret order where he goes around and he recruits one member of each legion, including the traitor legions. And that's where he meets a lot of the really cool characters throughout his story. He meets Macer Varen, who was from the World Eaters. He's a loyalist. Macer Varen's a fucking hoss. He cares so much about innocent life. To hear that from a world leader is wild.
Like their actions are kind of off.
Yeah.
From that.
But he basically goes toe to toe with the Custodes over killing some survivors because the Custodes like, oh, we can't trust them. And he's like, if you think you're going to slaughter them, then you're going to have to start with me. And then later he does the same. He pulls the same maneuver on Garro when Garro wants to execute who turns out to be Garviel Loken. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Who is a Sons of Horus who has lost his mind on a planet.
Ooh.
And Garro thinks he's too far gone. He's supposed to go get him and recruit him, but he thinks he's lost his mind. He's like, I'm just going to put him down. And Baron's just like, it's not happening. We're not killing a loyal son. And he's a cool character. Tylos Rubio is another one. He's an Ultramarine, a Psyker. He's a little bit of a tight ass, but I end up liking Tylos.
Yeah.
Throughout the story, he grows on me. I didn't like him at first because the way Garro recruits him, basically he does. It's a shit move, but it's also true. Garro forces Tylos to use his psychic powers against the Council of Nicaea. And when he does so, his Ultramarine brothers see it and then denounce him and kick him out of the Ultramarines.
Ooh.
So now Tylos basically has no choice but to come work for the Sigillite.
Gets excommunicated.
Yeah. But it is also true. So, like, they were facing off against the traitor legions. They were fighting the word bearers. And they were all going to die. Like, Tylos refused to leave. He didn't, like, this working for the Sigillite was purely voluntary.
Right.
And so Garro went to him. He's like, "Hey, the Sigillite wants you to come work with me." He's like, I'm not leaving my brothers." So they're all going to die. And Garro basically goads him into using his powers.
Okay. So he kind of led to him.
He did, but he's like, also, all your brothers that you care about so much, they would have died.
Yeah, I see.
And
Boy, that's a tough spot to be in, huh?
Yeah. And Garro himself holds no like prejudice against Psychers. I actually think he kind of finds it silly that they can't use it. And he's been told by Malkador that, like, yeah, okay, other people aren't allowed. You guys are exempt from all this because you're fighting a secret war.
Ooh, cool.
Not Marvel's like fucking abomination, like an actual secret war that involved, wars and secrets. Not emasculating your main character or making them suck face with the dirty Xenos for some reason.
With the dirty Xenos.
These fucking weird
Jesus
fuckers up there.
You guys get that video I sent you?
No. What is it?
I don't care how big the galaxy is. There's only room for one Imperium in it. I'm going to play it. Is this it?
It's got like news stories. It's like, there's hostile aliens. This just shows the Imperium going.
Just like, nope. Hostile island. Yeah, Milky Way galaxy has 4 malicious alien civilizations.
Oh,
it's like not in my galaxy.
Yeah.
No.
Let's go get them.
Oh, listen. If there are actual aliens out there, fuck off, will you?
You don't want none of this smoke.
Nope.
No. Eric has high anxiety about aliens.
Oh yeah, I don't want it to be aliens. I'd rather it be demons than aliens. Oh yeah.
And you know what I say is relax. If there's one thing that human beings have proven is that we have a natural talent for killing shit.
We will find a way.
Yeah, we will.
Even by accident.
Yeah.
Oh
We
yeah.
just can't help
Oh, yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Listen,
Big time.
we'll accidentally pox blanket them fuckers. To hell with them.
It's like War of the Worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hachu! Genocide.
Those microbes.
So anyway, where was I? Fuck, this is the first time that's ever happened.
I know.
Knights Errant.
Knights
Oh.
Errant.
Yes,
You did it.
Tylos Rubio. There it is.
Nice.
So Tylos Rubio is allowed to use his psychic powers per Malkador,
Right.
but the Ultramarines, because, Ultramarines, they have like a zero wiggle room. And this is something that Tylos encounters a lot. But anyway, Garro goes throughout his career this kind of brief, it's not brief by our standards, but by 40K standards, it is pretty brief because it's like 4 years. It's throughout the length of the heresy, really.
Yeah.
just recruiting different legionaries, and then it ends up being people as well, just not regular, but people.
Yeah, non-Astartes.
Right.
Yeah.
And Malkador, he doesn't really know why, and Malkador says, I just want you to find people of an inquisitive nature.
Which, fuck.
Yeah. So it turns out that shock and awe and shock, that Malkador is having him recruit what will be the beginnings of the Inquisition.
Yep.
And the Astartes are the beginnings of the Grey Knights.
Yep.
So the Siege of Terra starts ramping up. You know, it's like getting to be go time in the Horus Heresy, and things are rapidly coming to a head. And it's time for Malkador to kind of wrap everything up on Titan, you know, the moon of Saturn, which is going to be the Grey Knights training base. And then he's going to create a pocket dimension and then stuff the planet in there, because that way it's like the what's the thing from Dragon Ball Z?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
The thing that they go and train in.
It's like a chamber where they
hyperbolic chamber.
The hyperbolic time chamber.
That's it. Hyperbolic time chamber. Yeah.
So it's basically that he stuffs a whole planet in the hyperbolic time chamber, and they'll be able to train for like 100,000 years or whatever, and then come out in like 1,000 years.
It's the hyperbolic time chamber.
It is, yeah. And Malkador can just do this because he's psychic power.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Malkador is like 40K's equivalent of Gandalf. So imagine Gandalf 40K'd.
Yeah.
Merlin.
Yeah, very Merlin. Merlin is also
actually Merlin's probably more accurate than Gandalf, because Merlin is a little bit more morally gray than Gandalf.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, and to put that into context, Malkador's second, not even as powerful as the Emperor.
Oh, it's not even close. Not even close.
Yeah.
He's number 2, and number 2 ain't even close.
So that is wild. And he could just pocket dimension, time distort
a planet.
Sure. Yeah. Good Lord. So anyway.
I know. Gypsy.
Do you mind?
So anyway, when it comes time to like Tylus Rubio, not Baron, because he died in battle.
No.
I'm not happy with that part.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That I actually felt like they kind of juked him a little bit on that one. I don't feel like for his final fight, it was very short. And I get why he decided to barrel charge something that was way stronger than him. And by that standards, he actually lasted longer than most. But that's just because he didn't die instantly. But it's like, yeah, he lasted 4 or 5 sentences. I'm like, yeah, but he was still like, he did deserve more than that.
Yeah. Of course, that seems to be something that happens to a lot of characters in 40K, to be honest. Is, you know,
it does.
Yeah.
They live in a brutal universe.
Yeah.
I know. It's just, for such a unique character as a world eater that cares. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But it comes time to send them all into Titan and to go train, which means they're going to be completely removed from the battle, right? Your time comes afterwards. Garro refuses to go.
Yeah.
And so Malkador releases him from his duty. He's like, you are a free man, 100% top to bottom, free. Go fight the heresy, win and where you want. Have fun. And because Garro can't escape his fate or actually I think it's his destiny.
Yeah.
He winds up on a bastion defending Euphrates Keeler and a bunch of civilian soldiers against the Death Guard being fronted by Mortarion and Typhus.
Yeah. And at that point, they are just an island in the storm because because of her, they are the only ones that hadn't been pushed back.
Yep. Euphrates is using her powers of faith to reinforce the soldiers and letting them fight way past their capacity.
Yep.
Collective sigh.
Garro goes down and faces Mortarion one-on-one, and he is killed at the end.
Right.
But man, is it good.
It was a good death for Garro.
It was. Yeah. Mortarion basically is playing with him the whole time. Just he's fighting him, but not directly trying to kill him because he wants to yell at him.
Yeah. It's still basically a battle of ideologies, really.
Yeah.
You know.
This is where Typhus is in the back yelling.
Yeah. So Typhus and Mortarion are up on a raised platform leading the Death Guard when Mortarion comes down off the platform to face Garro. So that means that Typhon is still on this raised platform watching them in the background. And it cuts to him from time to time where he's literally like yelling at Mortarion to just kill him and quit fucking around. And he's just like pacing back and forth on this thing, just hopping up and down, losing his fucking mind. And it would just be so funny because he's mutated by this point.
Yep.
To see Typhus, this huge, hulking, like rhinoceros looking motherfucker with the smokestacks coming out of his back that are leaking flies. I want somebody so badly to just animate just a brief scene of Mortarion and Garro fighting, and in the background you can see like a chibi version of Typhon just going ape shit in the background, hopping up and down, screaming, running back and forth.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
That would be amazing to see.
Because he's 100% correct. Euphrates manages, because she's up on top of the bastion looking down at this fight, and she looks off in the distance. She can see the Imperial Palace. And she like reaches out and prays to the Emperor with one hand, and then casts the power from the palace, from the Emperor, to her, through her, to Garro, like a lightning rod.
Yeah. She's a conduit for this faith.
Yeah.
Power.
Like a cell phone tower.
Yeah, she's got great reception.
Yep. Unlimited bars.
Yeah.
All the data.
And so Garro kind of supercharges.
And and this is, make no mistake about it, this is fan service.
Yeah.
Okay? A legionary, no matter how souped up, cannot stand to a Primarch. It's just not going to happen. And he does succumb.
Yeah.
That's not even the coolest part, though, is Garro is impaled on Silence, the Scythe.
Yeah.
And he stops seeing Mortarion like entirely. And he sees this large figure wreathed in golden light who literally steps through space as if they're opening a door. Now, bear in mind, at this point, the Emperor is fighting a war in the fucking webway.
Yes. He's holding back a whole tide of his own.
So would the Emperor stepping through the webway look something like that? Maybe.
Yeah.
And Garro has said that he doesn't know how he knows, which means that it's psyker power, but he knows that if his faith is pure, that he will rise and fight for this person once more in the afterlife. And then Garro accepts that, basically, and then slips away.
True faith.
Yeah. Which I think, so we know the Emperor is now in the warp. We know that he has brought back some of the Primarchs. Sanguinius, probably Ferrus Manus, because the Emperor did say something about bringing him back in like an earlier series. So we can assume that he's alive in the warp, or at least given manifest.
Okay.
So that leads me to believe that Garro
was also taken into the warp bosom
of the Emperor, which I think only doubles down on the Legion of the Damned, which we've not covered much, but they're like this legion of... Have you heard of them?
No.
Okay, so the Legion of the Damned are like this legion of Astartes that show up at dire moments, and they just show up out of nowhere, and they're wreathed in fire and flame, and they push back the enemies of the Imperium.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the tide is turned, they vanish.
Okay, so they're sort of like a ghost army.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody really knows much about him.
Yeah. Most fans speculate that they are the Emperor's versions of demons.
Oh, okay.
Which is neat. That's such a neat.
Which means that Garro would be maybe not a greater demon, because that would be his Primarchs.
But well, he might be able to, the warp doesn't have those same kind of limits, does it?
No, but there are there's like a middle rank between just like mindless demon.
Right.
So there's every chance for Garro to be of that level, or maybe greater demon. Hey,
Cool.
He deserves it.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, though, is like he could be right there, like an Einherjar. Einherjar.
He's martyred, so that's a good way to get to
He is
the next level.
Yeah, he is a martyr. You're right. Oh, if you make that kind of saint comparison, he could be, in a way, sainted. Yeah. I love this stuff.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
Lord.
I know.
And that really plays well into I can't help myself, the Arthurian parallel.
Let's go ahead and get into that, because my mind was going there next. So let's go ahead and dive into that.
The once and future Garro.
The once and future Garro. Which, oh man, what if what if Arthur really is just, even in the Warhammer universe, just someone who, cycled through a couple of, I don't know. Anyway, that's purely, don't mind me. So that's something that is key in Arthurian legends, which there are many different versions, right?
Sure, of
It's
course.
an old set of stories. But one of the key parts of it is that he is wounded in battle with Mordred, who is his son. In this case, Mortarion is his father, Garro's father. But that kind of more
and then the
part
flip,
of the name.
And then the flip flop would be a
kind of a mirror opposite sort of deal. But he's usually wounded. I think in a prior episode that he was probably wounded in the thigh. I don't think that's true. Most of what I found was a wound to the head of some sort, if I remember correctly.
But Arthur was wounded in the leg?
I think I got that from a book called The Mists of Avalon, perhaps, which is it was written in modern times as a fiction
I see.
version.
Nathaniel lost his leg.
Nathaniel sure did. Yeah. So I got kind of excited, but I think that was purely work of fiction as far as the book went that I'm talking about.
When did that book come out, though?
Good Lord. It is an older book.
So just because that's not tied to the original legend does not mean, because we also know that 40K borrowed from like Dune.
Yeah, that's true. They did take a lot of fiction into account too. You're right.
You know what's funny?
Hmm.
Mists of Avalon is the name of the song that is our opening.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Oh no, what if I got the name wrong because of that?
You did not.
Okay, good. That's interesting.
1983. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
buddy.
so
Good.
they still
Good.
could have. Okay.
Could have.
Cool.
Very well could have.
Neat. All right. My brain hasn't quite failed me yet.
Did not. No.
Still firing.
Still firing. Obviously, there's the Knights of the Round Table. Could
With
be
the Knights
compared to
Errant.
Mhm.
the Knights Errant, Malcador and Merlin.
Mhm.
Come on,
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm missing an important one.
Euphrates could be kind of an interesting Guinevere.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely not like Morgan Le Fay because she was often antagonistic. So
Right.
yeah, probably more of the
We have the Lord of Flies that kind of fill that magical enemy.
Ooh, that's true. Yeah,
I also don't think we said that he was from Albia on Terra.
and Albia could be Britain. Yeah.
Yes. Could be like one of 3 different places.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. There's a major one I feel like is slipping my brain.
There
big
is
one.
a big, thick, heavy, chunky one.
Yeah.
He wields a big old fucking broadsword named Libertas.
Libertas.
Jerry, do you have some things on Libertas?
I have a little things.
Okay.
It's a power sword,
It is it's a good example of a power sword.
and a power sword has a field of energy disrupting solid matter.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a fully metal lightsaber.
And this one in particular, they think predates like Old Knight, like way back.
There are some rumors that it could even be or pertain pieces of Excalibur.
Yeah. I think there's an instance where a guy knocks it out of Garro's hand and
So-
then tries to pick it up to kill him with it, but cannot.
It happens more than once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Because it sticks in the ground in
Yep.
what I think you're talking about, and
it does,
can't
and
be
it can't
pulled
be pulled
out.
out except for by Garro.
And boy, that sure does sound like Excalibur.
And that is
And/or-
not a feature of that sword. It's not
Right.
like a technological thing.
It's one of those like almost divine intervention things that we had talked about,
Yep.
because Garro is then able to pull it out freely without effort.
And it's not unheard of for an artifact like that to exist this long, like the Rosetta Stone.
Oh,
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
that's right.
the Emperor collects stuff.
Those old relics and the Rosetta Stones, it still exists
Yes.
in
40K.
in 40K. So I think I heard something, and I think I should have looked it up to reference it if it was a Reddit post, but they were talking about how the name Libertas could have evolved from Excalibur, because another name for Excalibur is Caliburn, and this whole liber part of the word, kind of evolving into the name Libertas. Caliburn,
See?
Libertas.
I think there's another one that starts with L that is kind of sounds a little bit like Libertas.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds close to it, but not quite it.
And didn't quite. Yeah.
Which could be a rough translation to Libertas now.
Oh, neat. Yeah,
Sweet.
I didn't run across that.
I
That
love.
was-
Yeah. No. Check out Garro's story. It's a couple of books
It's
long,
so
but it's
good.
worth every penny.
Yeah.
What other kind of gear does Garro carry?
Okay. Well, he started out with the Mark IV power armor.
Which was the standard for the Death Guard,
Uh-huh. Okay.
except for the Imperator, of course, the eagle on the brass. I never understood
The
why they go with
Aquila.
brass.
Imperator.
Brass is a soft metal compared to what you can. Oh, they
I
like
don't
brass.
know.
No,
They like brass in 40K.
his eagle, he had like a 2-headed eagle, right? And they both had sight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the front one, and then he had the one above his head.
Yeah.
But
And-
it was unique that they both had sight because wasn't one of the heads blind usually?
So that's the
one-
difference between the Imperator and the Aquila.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is very significant though. They
The
both have
implication
sight.
that they could sort of see the future a little bit.
Yeah.
People believe that about the
That's-
sighted eagle.
Right.
Interesting.
It's forward thinking because they had like the blind apparently
Blind
the
to the
blind one
past,
is-
but looking forward to the future.
yeah.
He had Libertas, the sword. We talked about that.
Oh, yeah. Had it until the very end, shattered, and then he buried the shattered part of it in Mortarian's neck.
Yeah, causing him a wound.
Yeah.
That may come into play later.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. Who was it that also had a wound to their neck that was exploited on the loyalist side? Was it?
It was Gilliman.
It was Gilliman, wasn't it?
I think it was Gilliman.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it was
There
Gilliman.
might be a parallel there.
Yeah, he was hit by
Oh, we say it in the episode, and I can't remember.
oh my fucking god, my brain just went blank.
It was a demon.
Emperor's Children. Primarch.
Fulgrim?
Fulgrim.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, it was Fulgrim. Woo. But then he was upgraded.
Yeah, he gets upgraded to the Mark VI power armor when he is in Malcador's service.
The
Ooh.
Corvus pattern. It's meant to be light, quiet, stealthy.
Cool.
He has a Paragon bolter, which is modified for a high rate of fire.
And it's also like best material, blessed 3 times,
Master crafted.
jizzed on by a tech priest.
Blessed. He also has a falsehood. You guys know what that is?
No.
It's pretty cool. It's like it projects like a psycholuminal sphere around him, like active camo.
What?
So when he wades into battle, he's like hard
Yeah.
to target.
Oh.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Okay.
Yes. I in the Weapon of Fate is where they don't introduce it very well. He's stalking somebody and it's almost Predator-esque
Neat.
is what it looks like. Yeah,
so
cool.
he can like enter unseen.
Cool. Yeah, I guess there are a lot of like sneaky. It's a secret war. So he ends up needing a lot of sneaky stuff too.
Yeah, because
the Corvus
at the same
pattern.
time, Malcador was also running the spies and the
Yeah.
assassins as well.
The Aquila Imperator on his back
Yes.
also had a doubled effect of a conversion field, which made his armor hard to pierce.
Yeah, they
Oh.
they call those, I believe they're called iron halos.
Yeah, it's something. It said it was like an iron halo.
Like an iron
so
halo.
it's
Okay.
something
So
like that.
Oh.
Anytime you see like they have like something above their head, for the like if you see the salamanders, it looks like a torch, like a flame.
Yeah.
Something like
that
that.
kind of crest behind there.
That is
Yeah.
that is actually a piece of technology that emits a force field that helps reinforce their armor.
No shit. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
It's
cool.
not just for decoration.
I thought it was ornamental.
Nope.
Wow.
And because the salamanders, their stuff is like promethium, it's a fire field.
Yeah. Okay. That's neat. I learned something new today.
Nice.
All right. And that's he's pretty straightforward in his kit, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know?
He was a simple fighter. He was a kind of a simple guy, simple in his mannerisms.
Yeah. The paragons are very easily to define. They're not complex in the way where they're like internally conflicted so much. You know, he
Well, he is internally
he is,
conflicted,
isn't
though.
he? Yeah. So as soon as those words are out of my mouth, but he's still a complicated guy.
Well, so I think the reason is because usually paragons aren't your main character
Yeah.
because they're hard to make interesting.
Right. Because
This is an example of one that is.
they're kind of like, I think they're called iconic characters where they don't go through an arc, a change through the story. They're kind of more
They're like reverenced and revered, and like the more detail you go into it, it takes away from that.
yeah. Or I guess iconic could also be like an evil character. Like they're just evil. They're not going to change that, and you don't see why they became evil. They just through the story remain that static.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Garro's
He has an arc.
It's less of an arc and it's more like an ascent, really. They just like he has an inkling of a thing and he believes in a thing and he's not sure why. And then it just kind of reinforces to the end.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though like his faith in people waver and stagger and stuff, but like his main focus, which is the faith, just gets stronger.
And his faith in himself wavers a little bit here and there too, you know.
Yeah, he's not perfect. Yeah. I mean, as we said, he loses fights. He lost a fucking leg.
Yeah. Oh, you know, something I find interesting though too, as far as this faith stuff goes, is the lodges were kind of almost the same sort of thing. They were trying to cultivate a faith in Mortarion over the, you know, kind of in a way to do that.
Yes.
And it's like, well, I guess the one came first. You know, he was never tempted by that, was he?
No, never.
He stood in opposition to it in an interesting way. But it is kind of interesting that it's like these two different paths of faith kind of emerged, and his brothers could have picked it a different way.
Yeah, it's almost like I struggle to try to define it because you know, he has faith and it gives him a different type of power, but the warp is also faith, but not quite the same.
Yeah, and war is kind of faith too, and there's still mysteries. Yeah.
I love it. All right, guys, this has been a good episode. I'm not going to belabor the point because the more we go in, the more spoilers we go into. And you need to at least do Flight of the Eisenstein and then jump to Garro, Knight of Grey. So you get his beginning and his end. And if that don't whet your appetite to do in the middle, fuck you. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what you're listening to us for. I don't know what your tastes are. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, of course.
They might be more like Sly Marbo. Yeah, Marbo kind of fans. You never know.
Hey, listen, the people that like the chaos stuff, they go hard into it and they don't like the pro Imperium stuff.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I love faction-based fandoms. You find that the fandoms that have factions inside of it, I find you are less toxic than ones that don't, because you're able to get out all of your arguing and fighting inside of the lore.
Yeah, and in good fun, you know?
Yeah, it keeps it good fun.
Yeah. It's like,
that's a good point.
Smack talking the Tau.
Oh, yeah. The ones whose names we struggle to remember.
Yeah.
Although, I gotta say, if we release Tau videos and they get more views than the Eldar, man.
Yeah, we'll be seeing if they can beat the Eldar or not.
That'll be rough.
Yeah, it'll just be back to what we said. What are they? Dodos? Yeah.
Eldar dodos.
Yep, Eldar dodos.
Oh, fucking. Anyway,
yeah.
So let's wrap up with some final thoughts on Garro.
Okay,
go ahead, Eric. I'll let you go first.
Okay, so again, it's almost, I don't want to say this and sound like I'm criticizing like the grimness and the darkness of, but he is a breath of fresh air,
right?
In that it actually is like hopeful and inspiring to have a character like this inside. To me, that is the point. You know, okay, it's great that we do have such grim darkness and there's a lot of like room for horror and dark humor and exploring these different things, but it always just turns out so grim. And that is supposed to accentuate the heroicness of probably mankind, right? Humans in this world, right? That seems to be at least more of the lens that we are looking through it at. You know what I mean?
We're pro Imperium.
We're speciesist, right? You know, no heresy here. Screw those Xenos.
All nasty, all traitors.
But so it is nice that he's there too, to kind of be the light in the darkness, and that is a comfort. And it's really neat that he's connected to some of our roots in myth and legend and story.
Definitely.
He's got a lot. It's definitely a hero's journey with the iconic magic weapon that even when it is broken, which I hope it gets remade a la Lord of the Rings. You know,
reforge the sword.
Yeah, reforge the sword that was broken, baby. Do it. I want it. But even shattered, it stabs and, you know, defies evil to the very end. And that is cool. I like it.
So you know how the Emperor said like Mortarion can still be saved? Can you imagine if somehow Mortarion is redeemed and then he wields Libertas?
Oh my goodness. Well, that would be a thing.
The reforged Libertas.
Wow.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be. Give up the side, take up the sword, become the Morty you were meant to be.
Better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm going to do this next part, but Jerry, what are your final thoughts?
Well, man, Garro was a lot of fun to learn about. Yeah, he had a lot going on. He had like the side characters that would like fall around him, and he would do crazy feats. Like I have here that he fought a blood-sucking dragon demon at some point.
What? Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he slayed a dragon.
Cool. Oh my God. Of course he slayed a dragon. I don't know why I'm surprised.
And it
The
feels like
blood-sucking part was surprising.
yeah. And it feels like you're like on the journey with him, like as he discovers what his purpose is and stuff. And
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a fun ride learning about this guy.
I have to agree. I have to, just echo what they said in its entirety. Garro is a breath of fresh air. Just like you said, he's a hero. Dyed in the wool. He's not looking to be cruel to anybody. He discounts no one.
Yeah. Seeking no glory.
None.
No. He is simply
Pure.
Yeah. Absolutely pure. That is such a good way of putting it.
But he's
Pure.
full of self-doubt. He's not perfect.
No.
No.
Yeah.
And in fact, it is his faith that somebody else has a better plan for him than he has that allows him to continue forward.
Yeah.
And man, I love the idea of my problem with the way we use faith now is people are so sure. It's like the idea that courage without being afraid.
Yeah.
You can't really be brave if you're not sure.
Yeah.
Or if you're not afraid. I don't feel like you can have faith if you're so sure in yourself that you never question it.
To have faith, you must also have doubt.
There
Yeah.
it is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Because if you know something for sure, that's not what faith is.
That's not faith.
So if you feel like you know something for sure, you might not have faith.
There we go.
In the way you
Spoken
think it
like a
is.
true Catholic.
Yeah.
I like it.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a word for that.
Faith.
It escaped me.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll have if it comes to him, you'll find it down in the comment section.
There we go. There we go.
But so man, this is a journey that I've gone on twice, and it's just so good.
Yeah. I'm really glad that this gatewayed you into the drug that is 40K.
Definitely,
Yeah.
it definitely
This was
did.
a good-
This was Fly of the Eisenstein was the second book that I read. Yeah, second.
Nice.
And I listened to it. Audible. I cheat. But,
Yeah.
but
Audible,
and
our
it
natural
just-
ally.
Yeah, it just cemented him into my brain, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how there could possibly be a part 2 to this, short of some really cool shit happening.
Yeah.
If it does, rest assured, we will cover it with fucking bells on.
Absolutely.
Or if they come out with, you can do mini novels, short stories that have, covered the area that we haven't quite trod yet. So it's not that his story is completely done, but it has reached its end.
Could be like, past stuff, flashback stuff,
Right.
origin stories.
So I will definitely cover that as well if it comes out. And so Eric, go ahead and do our plugs.
Okay, so wrap up stuff. One thing I want to say is, if you liked this character study on, and want to throw out some suggestions, obviously we will continue to work our way through the Primarchs.
Other
but
characters,
if there are other characters,
good
you'd like
and
us to
bad.
cover.
We'll do heroes and we'll do villains.
Yeah. Yes.
Typhus and Sevatar, the two that I've mentioned before, are already on the list. Rest assured.
And Commissar Yarrick is
Commissar
on the list
Yarrick,
too.
of course, is on the list. Gazgul Mathraka is going to be on that list for sure.
Yeah. So, throw them out there. Leave us suggestions in the comments. Comments and likes and all that stuff really help us out on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, Buzzsprout, 5 stars or however many stars you want, really. Some reviews. I don't think we have many reviews. So any will do. Yeah. That's nice. You can find us at Cult Talk Net along with some other pretty cool shows. We have Cult Talks Conspiracy, which is hosted by Ty and Bailey.
Yeah.
And they talk about all sorts of neat conspiracy theories that, they've covered things like UFOs, which is pretty hot right now. So they have some cool stuff on that.
And they're working on some different stuff as well.
They are.
So
They've got some really neat
I'm
stuff.
not allowed to tell what it is. She's
Yeah.
over there about to plus, just like typing in the background. But you want to get in before that happens so that you can be there during the change.
Yeah.
That's when it's fun, is when you're able to say, I was there before all this was this way.
Yeah.
You can also check out Cult of Campbell, where we talk about Bruce Campbell, the king of B movies, and work through a bunch of his movies and give him a groovy, not groovy rating. Isn't that fun? It's a lot of fun. Now there's a mini series called American Pie Slices. You can watch that if you enjoy people talking about the movie American Pie. So that's a 6-part series on one freaking movie.
Ty and Mike, and it's not us. It's
No,
Ty and Michael.
Ty and Michael doing their Ty and Michael shenaniganry.
We're barreling towards Culttober.
Yes. So please do buckle up.
We're
for
2
Culttober.
months out.
Yeah. We've got a lot of cool Halloween movies to review and talk about, as well as some neat, dark, horrible stuff too here on Cult of Lore that's coming up. Dear Lord,
Yeah.
it's going to be so gruesome.
And our, of course, our not 40K episode for that will be HP Lovecraft.
Yeah.
So hot damn for that.
Really looking forward to that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Love ourselves some Lovecraft. So yeah, Culttober is important. Also, we now have ways that you can support the show. We have merch that you can buy and support us. It's pretty cool.
You'll find the link down in the description.
Yep.
Subscription?
Yeah, you can also subscribe to support the show for as little as like $3 a month. I'm still not entirely sure how that works, but if you click on the link, you can figure out how that works perhaps and let us know.
We suck at the tech thing.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we have Michael.
Yeah, the money that we put in goes in through other channels. I don't know what to tell you. So cool. Thanks for bearing with me for all those pluggy things. I think I got them all. At Cult Talk Net into Google will get you anything that I may have missed.
That's right, guys.
Yeah.
And so with all that, we'll go ahead and end it here.
Sorry. Yes.
No, that's fine. So guys, join us every first and third Thursday.
Yeah.
Or Friday.
Sometimes.
Listen.
We're only human.
Yeah.
We haven't appeased the machine gut and machine spirit.
We're consistently not consistent, but we're never really too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so with that, thanks for joining me with another episode of Cult of Lore. I'm Ben.
I'm Eric.
And I just want to say the word faith again. I feel like we didn't say it enough in this episode. You guys want to say it with me?
Yeah.
Faith.
Faith.